Hello, and welcome to this little announcement. Rhythmic is now open source. This is the seventh time that I've had to make this video because of too many complications. Hopefully this is the last one. So, where has this game been for the past 2 years? Well, I haven't really had time to be developing it. So, originally I wanted to open source at least at like a year ago at this point. But I just haven't been able to really get around to it. And thankfully, I was able to. Because originally, what I wanted to do was just rewrite the whole game from scratch and make the code cleaner, make it easier to read, easier to tinker with, have the build system nice, and then, post it. But no, that didn't happen. So what ended up happening is I had to change out fmod, which is what I needed to do in the first place, and I replaced it with the base library, and that ended up breaking a few things because I just didn't really get to implement the rest of it. The things that broke are practice mode, custom, playback speeds. Those kinds of things are busted. Volume control is another one that actually doesn't work at the moment. And then, yeah, another thing that's been plaguing this game is Unicode. Yeah, that's it. It can kind of read UTF-8, but any other Unicode, it's not really gonna read it at all. Okay, and then there's something else I wanted to say about it. Probably wasn't important. So yes, this is the entire repository here. The link will be in the description. It's a little tricky to set up, so I'm also going to show you how to set it up here and kind of explore around the directories afterwards. So one of the big problems right now is it's only going to compile on Windows. Some of the libraries are embedded into this repository. Not the best, but it worked for the time. And then we'll also have to download glfw, which you can get it with the Windows binaries here. Make sure you get the 64-bit. Then you're going to download GLM, and I'll have the links to both of these in the description as well. So go ahead and download this, and go ahead and extract it somewhere. I have this new folder here, and this is where I extracted everything. So go ahead and clone the repository. Probably should have had this done. And then once it's cloned, we can go ahead and open up Visual Studio and go to the Rhythmic in the new folder. So it's going to try to configure, and it's obviously going to fail. And to set this up properly, it's not going to be that complex, but it's pretty nasty. Go to Projects, CMake Settings, and click on this Edit JSON file here. And then what we're going to add is variables. The first variable we're going to add is the GLM directory, which we can do GLM root directory, and then its value will be where you extracted the GLM repository. And then the second one is going to be glfw root directory. And the value is going to be where you extracted the glfw directory. And before we save, inside the glfw here, we're going to rename one of these folders. So if you're using Visual Studios 2022, rename this one. If you're using, I don't know, 2019, rename that one. But we're just going to rename the folder to just lib. This way, the build scripts can actually find the library. So now we can save it, and Visual Studios will indeed reconfigure the project. And now we can actually build the project. So when we build the project, it's going to create a new folder called bin64. So go ahead, and we're just going to copy the DLL files while it's compiling. Just paste them into bin64 here. And then we're also going to copy the base library, which is in libs and then 64, and just copy that base DLL there. Awesome. Now that it is finished compiling, before we can launch it, Rhythmic has a game directory over here in Rhythmic and game. So we're going to go ahead and copy this directory because the Rhythmic executable needs these files here. Actually, well, not the license, but it needs themes, game data, and fretboards. So go ahead and copy the directory there. And we're just going to select Rhythmic here. In the select startup, go to debug, debug launch settings for Rhythmic. And we're just going to add in arguments here. Rhythmic only accepts one argument, and it's just going to be -dd equals. Go ahead and do a backslash and a quotation mark. Paste the directory, backslash, quotation mark, and another quotation mark. And go ahead and replace the backslashes here with forward slashes in the directory. So it should look something similar to this. You have -dd here, backslash, quotation mark, and then we'll have the directory, backslash, quotation mark, and then quotation mark. This will tell Rhythmic exactly where your game directory is, so it's not going to crash on launch. And you could also give it a name. I like to name it Rhythmic Debug 64. And then we'll go ahead and select that up here as well. Run it, and it should open. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you get the project started, how it gets all set up. And then, yeah, so everything else is going to be the code here. Engine, I tried to separate things out into engines around the release of 0.11, 0.12. And I was only able to get like a few things, and then just haven't really been able to since. Everything is going to be in the Rhythmic folder here inside of source. So we got the main, which is the biggest function in the whole entire game, which is the game main, the game entry. Yeah, this kind of needs to be broken down. It's a little too big here. But yep, the game pretty much resides here. We have the menu system, which is okay. All of the types here, this is where all of the actual menus are. So if we click on the main menu, we have a couple widgets in here that are defined. And then we have this function here which creates the menu. And it just basically creates a bunch of widgets and puts it into this canvas. And it's kind of the same with the others as well, you know, the secret unlock menu. Some of the widgets are defined at the top, and then we come down to the actual create method, which is basically just adding widgets and just positioning them on the screen and whatnot. Then we have network. Doesn't really do anything. There's nothing really in there. We have utilities. We have the chart parsing. We have audio. We got stuff in the game. Catchers are going to be the strike lines. Those are the little visual, the pistons that hit the notes. We have our instruments. We got 5 fret. We got the calibrate. We got drums, and keys were never really implemented. We got notes, the beat lines. These are mostly like visual stuff. We got the stage, which is where all of the stuff really happens. This is where syncing happens. The stage loads the audio and whatnot. Trying to think of other important stuff. Containers. All of the songs are loaded in song container. And then profile, all the rendering code. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I do have more updated, I do have more updated INI parsing code. The INI parsing code's kind of whack. The implementation was based off of boosts because it boosts implementation would not load like half of the song INIs that are out there. So I had to rewrite it and give it some leniency so it can actually load some of the song INIs out there because they're a little janky. But I do have a better INI parser that I'll try to include at some point. I did have a new chart parser in the works. It's not fully done, but if that ever gets complete, I'll also replace the mess here because it's kind of has a flow to it, I guess. There's where's the parser? Yeah, we got chart flow, unscoped. Yeah, it's kind of nasty. It's really nasty. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the code. So yeah, go ahead, fork it, have fun with it, contribute if you want, throw some pull requests. If I have time, I'll definitely review some of the code there and try to integrate it here. I didn't really want the code to die out, and this is the best way to do it, I guess. So hopefully it improves over time. If I have any spare time, I'll try to clean up some of the garbage here. And definitely make the project more streamlined for getting set up. So yeah, enjoy the code. have fun with it, and yeah, have a nice day.